since 2013, we have an Eastern European team taking their place. Here in the grand finals of the International Team Spirit have wreaked absolute havoc in that lower bracket, and they are ready for their final boss in PSG.LGD. Of course, Team Spirit, they got Yatoro, they got Toronto, Tokyo, Collapse, Mira, and Miposhka, led by Coach Silent. Yatoro being the youngest player at this international as well. You can see him here, looks a little different than his picture as he has donated his hair to the Dota gods. Let's see if it helps against PSG.LGD. PSG.LGD, was there ever any doubt that this team would take their seats here in these grand finals? These 5 players and their coach have been favorites for the last few months. Everybody saw this one coming, but the way that they've done it, the flair that they've done it with, that is something unparalleled for sure. We got Ame, Nothing to Say, Faith Beyond, Jin Q, Y, and Chao. And they will take their place in the booth as they get ready for their best of 5 grand finals. We want to quickly highlight Ame, the carry player of PSG.LGD. He came second at TI8. He came third at TI9. He came fourth at TI7. I think it's about time. He has a good shot at making it a first place here. All 10 players and their coaches headed into their pods, headed into their booths. I think at this point, all focus, Fog, is going to be on that game.
Absolutely. I mean, this is going to be a really cool battle of minds as well, too. As we've mentioned multiple times, of course, when you get to go through the upper bracket, you get a lot of more information coming into these grand finals. So for PSG.LGD, Xiao 8 probably did a ton of homework. He's probably got a lot to say to his team. And then for Team Spirit, this is, you weren't expecting to just face PSG.LGD. You had to make it all the way here. So now it's like kind of maybe last minute scrambling for some of these notes. So it's going to be interesting to see how the mind of Miposhka and Silent work versus PSG.LGD when they have all that info.
And the same, what Papi was saying, right? There's a couple of strategies that everyone is using at this tournament, so you can adapt to them and just think of it like that. Because PSG.LGD, they have been under the microscope for the last couple of months, right? Because of that, maybe for Team Spirit it's going to be a little bit easier, and it's not just anyone that they're facing in the grand finals, but still, not a lot of time since the last match that they had.
Absolutely. Also, on the side of PSG.LGD, there's four players and a coach that have been in these pods on the grand finals before. 3 of them ended up being victorious, which, by the way, for Faith Beyond and Y, they are those Royal Roaders that I talked about. This is actually their second TI. They've got a 100% TI win rate. So I think having that under your belt, Gods, the pressure on the side of PSG.LGD shouldn't be there.
At least a lot less, I think, because they've been there. I think there is still that little bit of pressure that they've never actually, had their back against the wall. I think that's where, Spirit, yeah, they've made this lower bracket run and there's all this extra info that PSG.LGD have to look at. But when PSG.LGD, they've had an easy run to now. So if they, drop a game or see, find themselves being challenged, that's where things will get interesting. But the fact they've been there before, that experience, that goes a long way.
It really does. I think it's also about time that we get these 2 teams on even playing field, because of course Team Spirit, the name, like, I know that there's a lot of people tuning in and they have seen PSG.LGD. They've been to 9 internationals, 10 if you also count LFY in that, of course, and they've had top finishes. They do well. For Team Spirit, the organization, Fog, this is their first international, so there are going to be a lot of people like, who are these guys? But these guys, at the moment, we can consider them on the same level as PSG.LGD coming into this grand finals.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've proven themselves so many times throughout the year. They've grown so much. I mean, I even mentioned it. I posted on Twitter earlier. These guys almost got relegated to lower division in DPC Season 1. Somehow they've crawled their way. They've learned so much, and yeah, it's just really spectacular to see that these young bloods have been able to make it all the way here to grand finals after such a tough road.
Yeah, Lizard, how is it possible for Yatoro to have 3 rampages
I don't
on
know.
the main stage?
Crazy.
It's insane. Not only does he have 3 rampages, how many heroes did this man play? It's just ridiculous to think about it. Usually when you become a pro and you're young, it's because you have a couple of heroes that you really maxed out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like you played 500 games of some Jug, Sven, and 2 more extra heroes. This guy seemingly plays anything.
Yep.
And he's not just young, he is the youngest.
Yes.
The youngest player in the internationals made to the grand finals with such a hero pool is incredible.
Absolutely incredible. Let's take a look at these 2 teams and compare them head to head to see who comes out on top of this one. Combined TIs, 6 versus 11. There's a big difference there. Most of the difference is, of course, going to be in the coaches. For Zhao, this is his 7th TI. His first as a coach, by the way, interesting to note. For Silent, this is his 5th vote.
Yeah, it's really cool when you get to hear the differences like that. But I still have to, I know everyone keeps talking about Collapse and Yatoro, and they even talk about Silent a lot with the brain and the coaching, but I have to give Miposhka so much credit on this team. I think he's the big one that I'm looking at where, Zhao, he's 9.8 KMR, 10 KMR, played it several TIs, been here forever, but Miposhka's a guy who's been digging and digging and digging through tier 2 teams for years and years.
Yellow Submarines, Comanches, all these
Empires,
tier 2 Eastern European teams, and now he's here in the grand finals. It's a beautiful story.
It really is. I think a lot of people might remember the miracle run that Empire had at TI7, but they had to play with the stand-in because their carry was not there. That was Miposhka's squad right there. And they still came top 8, which is absolute credit to being able to lead a team that has a fresh stand-in to be able to take it that far, and here he is. He seems also having the mindset of, you know what? I don't care about this all the shebang about this grand finals. I'm just gonna focus on the Dota.
Yeah.
He's just full focus on the games.
He comes across whenever there's an interview, very calm. He's got a very good head on his shoulders. And I think something that we've kind of commented on, when we see Spirit win these matches or come back, they don't show a lot of emotion. They're kind of for them, it's like the job isn't done until they win TI itself. So there really is this kind of team effort that is always focused on the next game they have to play.
Yeah, we heard it yesterday in a winner's interview as well. The focus is, we just play a Dota game with friends and we just focus on the game. And once we're in it, money doesn't matter.
A counter-argument for all the pressure that's on Team Spirit, I would say even that they reached grand finals.
Yes.
4 of them haven't been on a TI before.
Yeah.
How much pressure can you... Obviously, it's a lot. But at the same time, you're living the dream. You're enjoying yourself. And the momentum that they've got because of that, I think is going to be a huge tailwind for them. Meanwhile, PSG.LGD, they have a couple of accomplished stars. And I think the pressure is actually on them.
Yeah, there can definitely be said a lot of things said for the pressure on PSG.LGD. Nothing to say is here playing his first international, by the way. Also potential for that Royal Roader. And this team has got all the pressure of an entire region. Can they bring it home for their country is the question. We're finding out. The draft is right around the corner.
Team Spirit versus PSG.LGD. Grand Finals, Game 1.
Hello everyone, welcome to the draft panel of the Grand Finals of TI10. I have here with me Seb and No-Tail. And I just want to start off with a question. I mean, Team Spirit, they've had this amazing run. They have a lot of momentum, but LGD, they've seen more of Team Spirit's games. Which ones would you guys prefer going into the finals?
What do you mean going?
Like the momentum or having more information, because Team Spirit had to play more games?
I would have to say, looking at both teams also for what they are, LGD should be very comfortable, learning more, knowing more, having nothing to be afraid of. But if anyone could shake their boots, it should probably be Spirit, because you see the momentum, you see yeah, you see your Toro and you see how they're feeling themselves as well, which I think is the only type of Dota or the closest type of Dota to also go into such an organized and experienced drafting team. It's going to be very hard to surprise them, and it's going to be very hard to throw them on the back foot, but I would say Team Spirit's the one who could do it.
And it's already starting. I mean, the draft here, the information is that LGD chose first pick and Team Spirit went Radiant. Mm-hmm. It is their bread and butter, the Radiant on Team Spirit. I mean, it has been, dominating the tournament so far, and Team Spirit is one of the teams that abuses the most, the Radiant side. LGD, they are doing the same that they did against Secret yesterday. First pick domination, they had it both games and they made it work twice. They get it again, but this time around they did not get the Tiny from Team Spirit, which was a big theme. And it's also a big message, right? Because Team Spirit just beat Tiny Lycan against Secret, but now they play against potentially the LGD's Tiny and they don't want to deal with it. Does it have anything to do with the bans that LGD went for, or are they, switching gear? We'll see. With first pick.
And now they get the normal ET versus the IO, which a lot of people would prefer. And the way you might maybe want to deal with this is now try and get a hero that protects versus the ET coming to your lane. It could have been the Monkey, it could have even been the Tiny, and here you go, and Ursa instead. This is just to protect the IO and make it stronger, actually give it purpose on the lane. Because if not this, ET and Tide there's so many lanes that you could go into. If they pick this casual gyrocopter, I think the lane could be atrocious for them.
I think there's a little bit of a tournament meta thing, right? Because teams, when they pick the out, they've been banning out the Ursa against them in the second phase. I think Ursa one of the few agility carries that can match up against other Titan. You have the ultimate to get through. Exactly. Yeah. He can't man up on the lane. Even he can't. His aura doesn't pierce in rage.